ರೋಗ ಜಿಹಿಫವಾ ಮೀಹಕು ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಎಳಮುಗು ಸಬಬಂ ದೆನ್ ತಿಬೆ ಹೆಮ್ ಮೀಹುಂ ಎಬರಕ್ ಖಾತರಿ ಕೊರವೆ misal garage nunas en gaumata gawas me mask me deni roga jehifa hon namiha ge bera nokun nam professional korin mask wala gen nokutu mattaka muhimmakama ki bali jehifa wa mi anunia roga jehifa wa miha me mask elima e honna droplet takum meha mi virus me fetureni droplet infection aku droplet misal ka branyama wahaka dakka anoniamo ane kessala aruga anonia kibi ala aruga anoniamo ne fatun anna arda fus kole ehe mihegge ehe miheka hame forage ei yagandaka mi washagen honna misal roga jehifa na mihegge washagen mina 3 foot area එක හොන්න මීහක මේ බලි වාසලුමුගේ chance මිනනේ දැන් එකහල මේ රෝගය ජීව හොන්න මීහකු අමි මාස්ක් එළුම් එමෙ මුහිම කමකම් මේක මේ ඉන්නනේ
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back for the next episode. Before we start, once you finish seeing the presentations, please scan through the QR code or you can get into this link and write present so that we will know that you people are following these lessons. It's very important to go through these lessons as during this period of time we need to cover the syllabus. Thank you. Okay, we start with the new topic. From the topic it's here, the food factories. Do you know what topic is it? What are factories? Factories are where they produce goods in large amounts, and here we are talking about food. So, who can produce in large amounts food? That is basically plant nutrition. You can see from here the plants, they need nitrogen, magnesium in order to produce large amount of foods. Learning outcomes, it is very important because the examiners will be questioning from here based on the learning outcomes. So, define what is plant nutrition and photosynthesis. State the word equation as well as the balanced chemical equation for photosynthesis. Explain that chlorophyll transfers light energy into chemical energy in molecules for the synthesis of carbohydrates. Explain how the external and internal structure of the leaf is adapted for photosynthesis. Outline the subsequent use and the storage of carbohydrates made in photosynthesis and its importance in photosynthesis. Define the term limiting factor as something present in environment in such a short supply that it restricts the life processes. Identify and explain the limiting factors of photosynthesis in different environmental conditions. Describe the importance of nitrates and magnesiums and deficiency symptoms on plant growth. So, plant nutrition and photosynthesis. Why do you think plants need nutrition? Why do you think plants are so important for us? Plants are the most important organisms in this world because it maintains the oxygen and the carbon dioxide balance in the earth, and it also helps to maintain the biodiversity. We all depend on plants. Plants are different to us because they make their own carbohydrate. They do not depend on anything, they just make their own carbohydrate by using simple inorganic materials. So, what is photosynthesis then? This is a word that you have heard many times, is it? Yes? Photo, we will divide. What is photo? Normally, photo means light. So, their synthesis means manufacturing. So, that means plants, they are using light to manufacture their own carbohydrates. So, photosynthesis in other words means green plants, they make their own carbohydrates using simple inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water. In the presence of light energy, they produce their own carbohydrate, glucose. Now, these two equations are very important. In the exam, if there is a word equation, you have to write in words. So, that means carbon dioxide plus water, light energy, chlorophyll, they produce glucose and oxygen. But in the exam, if they have asked you for a chemical equation, that means it should be balanced. So, it is always 6 molecules of carbon dioxide with 6 molecules of water. In the presence of light energy and chlorophyll, they give out glucose. The formula for glucose is C6H12O6 and 6 molecules of oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Now, before going to the external adaptation of a leaf, we should know in a plant which is the organ which is undergoing photosynthesis. Plant has two parts, the shoot and the root. Shoot consists of the leaves. So, leaf is the major organ in which photosynthesis takes place. So, let us go through the external structure of leaf. You must have seen leaves with different varieties, different shapes. So, I have just brought 2 leaves with 2 different shapes. Can you all see the leaves? Yes? Clear? Yes. So, let us go through. Now, leaves, they are broad and flat, you can see. Why are they broad and flat? So, that it increases surface area for maximum light to penetrate. And the lower surface of the leaf, here we cannot see through our naked eyes, they have stomata. Stomata are tiny pores where exchange of gases takes place, which we cannot see in a leaf like this unless until we go and take a section and go through a microscope. In the leaf, we have a central vein running, you can see this is the midrib, and from the midrib we have lateral veins running it. So, why does this leaf contains veins and midrib? They are consist of the vascular bundles, namely the xylem and the phloem. Xylem transport water from the soil to from the root hair cells up to the photosynthetic tissue, and then phloem transport what is being manufactured during photosynthesis, glucose which is converted to sucrose and transported. So, the midrib and the veins, they have the vascular bundles, and the leaves are positioned holding by the stem, you can see they are not overlapping. If they were overlapping, they will not be able to get the light. So, in the plant, Mother Nature has done it in such a way, so that all the light can be penetrating, which is positioned by the petiole which is holding up the leaves. Now, we have gone through the external adaptations, let us go through the internal adaptations. So, if you take a cross section of a leaf, you can find diagram like this. Now, in this, the leaf, the upper part of the leaf is divided into 3 parts, that is upper epidermis, mesophyll layer, and then the lower epidermis. The upper epidermis consists of the waxy cuticle and the epidermis. Waxy cuticle is waterproof as well as transparent. Why do you think it is waterproof? Students, any idea? Yes? Waterproof, definitely it is to prevent the loss of water. And why do you think it is transparent? Because it is to allow maximum sunlight to pass through, and the epidermal cells, they do not have any chloroplast, so that light can pass through. Then we have the next one arranged, mesophyll cells. Now, in the mesophyll cells, we have 2 types of cells. One is the periseed cells and the other one is the spongy cells. Looking at this diagram itself, can you tell me the shape of these cells? They are long, elongated, more cylindrical, and the other is irregular shapes. And what else could be a difference you can see between these 2 cells in the diagram? Yes? Now, this has more chloroplast compared to this. So, periseed cells is the most part where photosynthesis takes place, because it contains a large amount of chloroplast, and they are arranged cylindrically and closely packed together, so that they can continue with photosynthesis at its maximum. Then the second layer what we have discussed was the spongy cells. Spongy cells were loosely arranged in the previous diagram you have seen. Why are they loosely arranged? They are loosely arranged in order to provide lot of air spaces, because air spaces is where exchange takes place. So, it provides air spaces for maximum exchange of gases, and then they also photosynthesize. Then we, from this leaf we have learnt already the midrib, which contains xylem and the phloem. Now, xylem transports water and phloem transports the carbohydrates manufactured during photosynthesis. Remember when I showed you the external adaptation of the leaf, we could not see the stomata. This is how the stomata look when we look through a microscope, and this is found only inside under the underside of the leaf, which we cannot see through our naked eyes. So, why is stomata so important, and how is stomata formed? Let us go through. Now, in the lower epidermis of the leaf, I have been discussing, we have 3 parts in the leaf in the internal, that is the upper epidermis, the mesophyll layer, and the lower epidermis. In the lower epidermis of the leaf, we find guard cells. Guard cells are like kidney shape, or you can say bean shape, or sometimes we talk about like banana shape. So, when the guard cells are there, they have a pair of guard cells. When between the guard cells, the empty space, what we call as the stomata or stoma. That is where carbon dioxide diffuses from a low concentration to from high concentration to low concentration, that is from the atmosphere, when the guard cells are turgid. During daytime, the guard cells, they do contain chloroplast. So, they photosynthesize. When they photosynthesize, they produce a sugar, and sugar is in the vacuole. That means it lowers the water potential. So, from the side, from the epidermal cells, water is drawn into the cells, making the cells turgid, which opens the stomata. Now, let us go through how green plants obtain raw materials for photosynthesis. What are the raw materials do you think that green plants need? Remember photosynthesis equation. What are the raw materials? Yes, number 1, carbon dioxide. So, let us go through how carbon dioxide enters into the leaf. So, we have discussed about stomata. So, carbon dioxide diffuses through the stomata from the atmosphere, and the loosely arranged cells, the mesophyll cells are loosely arranged, providing air spaces. So, carbon dioxide diffuses into the air spaces, and then it moves into the mesophyll cells through the cell wall and the cell membrane. Finally, it reaches the chloroplast. So, what is chloroplast then? These terms are important. Chloroplast is the organelle where photosynthesis takes place. The next raw material we need in the equation is water. How does water enter the plant? Water enters from the soil through the root hair cells. Root hair cells are long and tubular, so they can penetrate into the soil particles. So, water molecules move from osmosis, from that means from a higher water potential to low water potential, and then once it enters into the root hair cells, the water molecules are moved up to the photosynthetic tissue by the xylem vessels. Then next, what is the next raw material? Light or light energy. Now, light energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll. Now, you must know chlorophyll and chloroplast, they are two different. Chlorophyll is a green pigment found in plants which absorbs light energy. Chloroplast is a site of photosynthesis. So, chlorophyll is absorbed by the light energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll, and it takes, once it is exposed, this is entering into the pellucid tissue. I told you earlier also, pellucid tissue is where most photosynthesis takes place, and the leaves are held in such a position, earlier also we were discussing, so that maximum light can penetrate. Even pellucid cells are held vertically, so that most of the light can be penetrating through the pellucid cells. Up to this, are you all familiar? We have discussed about photosynthesis, the raw materials required, and how do they get all these raw materials. So, let us go through then, having all these raw materials with this, how will the photosynthesis takes place. So, let us go through. The first thing is, we were discussing chloroplast is a site of photosynthesis. So, chloroplast is an organelle found in the cytoplasm of the cell where photosynthesis takes place, and in the chloroplast we find chlorophyll, which is a green pigment. Now, light energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll and it is trapped by the chloroplast. Now, light energy will split the water molecules into hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. Now, carbon dioxide, as we have discussed earlier, it enters through the stomata, and through the spaces it goes into the mesophyll cells, and then it diffuses into the chloroplast. So, carbon dioxide combines with the hydrogen atom forming glucose, which is C6H12 and O6, and oxygen will be removed as a byproduct. Therefore, we can say light energy is converted into chemical energy. The chemical energy what we are talking is the glucose which is formed, and as we all know, glucose is water soluble. So, glucose is not, we cannot store it, therefore, we store it as starch, and oxygen is given out as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Use and storage of carbohydrates produced during photosynthesis. What is being produced during photosynthesis, students? It is? Yes, it is glucose. And what are the three products of this glucose? So, first it is produced glucose, and glucose cannot be transported, earlier I was talking about, because it is water soluble. If glucose is transported, what will happen to the plant? Any idea? Yes, it can hinder the water potential of the cells. Therefore, the plant cells either can become flaccid or it can become turgid, which you have learned during the osmosis lesson. What happens to the cells when it is placed in distilled water or when it is placed in a concentrated solution. Therefore, glucose is transported as sucrose. Sucrose is not water soluble. During the lesson of chemicals of life, we have learned the different types of carbohydrate. So, sucrose is a disaccharide, glucose is a monosaccharide. Remember those lessons? The next one is starch. So, sucrose is transported and stored as starch because starch is totally insoluble. So, when the plant is not photosynthesizing during the night time, the plant is unable to photosynthesize. During that time, the stored starch will be later again converted back to sucrose and then to glucose. So, the plant can be using glucose as a source of energy. Then what is the use? We are talking about the use and storage. So, the storage part is completed. Next one is the use. What is the use of glucose? Glucose is essential to all of us because it is used in respiration to release energy, and glucose is also used to make proteins. Unlike us, because we eat meat, milk, everything, the plants are unable to eat, so they need to make their own proteins. So, how do they make proteins? Now, remember during the lesson we learned what are the elements found in carbohydrates? Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So, into this nitrate ions are absorbed from the root hair soil, from the root hair, and these nitrate ions combine with the glucose which is manufactured during photosynthesis, and then they form protein. So, that means it contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, and proteins are very essential for the plants because these proteins they need to form hormones, enzymes and so on. And some of the glucose is also used to form the cell parts. For example, all the plant cells, they have a big thick cell wall. You can see this cell wall is made up of cellulose. So, the glucose is again used to make cellulose, and plus some of the glucose is converted into fats and oils in plants. So, from this diagram, this is a comparative diagram where you can find the main uses of glucose, and then the storage part we are talking about, it is glucose, sucrose and starch.
Mi bayyaki hagotu ebal jihifawa miha enege washagen timfutuge durminenga e bali feturumuge fursat minnani ege itor mi bike baltamna misaka වැගතරේක ජලාශෙම හිෆාෆ ඒ වැගතරේක ෆ්ලෝටුවා කාල බලත එක මී එක බයන්න උන්ගත මි බල්දීග මි හොනනි ඒ බල් ජෙහ මීහා කෙස්සාකි මිහාර ඒ බුරාගෙන්ද තිකිත නුනිය ඒ ජලාශෙම දාන ස්ප්‍රෙඩ් වානකම අල්ම ඉන්න කෂවර දායිරාකි තිම් ෆුඩ් එහෙම හයිගතුග තිම් ෆුඩ් හැම ගෑන් නුවාකම වානම එවස් මි එහෙම මියක ඒගේ දුරගති වේ එවස් මියක ගෙල්මෙන් වාන එහෙමද ඉමාරතගේ තෙරේක ඉන්න මීහගේ සබ ඉමාරතක බේරුකොන්න එවස් මියක අසර නුකරන්නේ.
Factors affecting rate of photosynthesis. We have discussed a lot of it. So, can you tell me the factors affecting rate of photosynthesis? That means we are talking about the raw materials, right? So, here first one factor will be light energy, then carbon dioxide and suitable temperature. Now, if any of these factors is in short supply, we will not be able to continue. So, we call it as a limiting factor. For example, I will give you a common example. If we have got an order to make 100 cupcakes within 30 minutes, in our kitchen we have the cupcake mixture, but we have only one oven. So, we are not able to make it because we are having only one oven. So, the oven becomes a limiting factor there. Likewise, if any of these factors is in short supply, that means that becomes the limiting factor. So, in order to carry out photosynthesis, we should have all these three factors running simultaneously in equal amounts. So, let us go through this is important for you all during your examination. You have to learn how to read a graph. So, in this graph you can see we have the y axis called as the rate of photosynthesis and the x axis as light intensity in arbitrary units. What is happening here? Now, at point A, as the light intensity increases, rate of photosynthesis is also increasing. Can you all see? From A, as the light intensity increases, rate of photosynthesis increases up to B. So, from A to B, what is in short supply? Students? Yes, good, it is light. So, at this point, light is in short supply. But after point B, what is happening? So much light is given, but still the rate of photosynthesis is constant. It becomes a constant. Why? That's what I was talking about. All the factors should be there. So, from A to B, light is in short supply, which is a limiting factor, but from B onwards it becomes a constant. Maybe carbon dioxide is less or temperature is not suitable. So, this point we call this as light saturation point. The second factor, carbon dioxide. So, again we look through rate of photosynthesis with carbon dioxide concentration. As carbon dioxide concentration increases, rate of photosynthesis increases up to a certain point. So, from A to B, what is that short supply? Good, carbon dioxide, and from B onwards it becomes the carbon dioxide saturation. No more carbon dioxide, even if there is a lot of carbon dioxide, photosynthesis cannot take place. For example, if there is short supply light, what is the role of light? Anyone? Yes, light splits up the water molecule into hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms. So, now if there is no light here, even if you have a lot of carbon dioxide CO2, it cannot combine with the hydrogen. So, therefore, it becomes carbon dioxide saturation point, and from B onwards it other two factors like carbon dioxide or temperature could be the limiting factor. Then temperature, the last one, right. So, we go through now temperature related to photosynthesis. Any idea? When we are going through biology, we go through with all the topics. So, we have gone through a topic earlier to this, even in this teleclass. Yes, can you name? Enzymes, very good. So, why enzymes? Because photosynthesis is an enzymatic reaction. So, as the temperature increases, rate of reaction also increases, you can see. That means, because the molecules are gaining kinetic energy, there is more collision, more bombardment, more reaction takes place. But to a certain level, so at 40 degrees here in this case, at 40 degrees the enzymes are denatured. Remember that lesson? So, once it is denatured, the active site loses the shape, no longer the substrate can fit in. So, therefore, the rate of photosynthesis decreases up to this point. So, this is another limiting factor. Now, stomata directly is not a limiting factor in terms of the examination. Normally, we talk about light saturation point, carbon dioxide saturation, and then temperature. But stomata and chlorophyll, even water could be a limiting factor. So, why is stomata a limiting factor? I have chosen here. What is stomata? Stomata is a space between the two guard cells. What is the function of stomata? Yes, stomata absorbs what of carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. So, if the stomata remain closed, carbon dioxide cannot diffuse. That means, if there is no carbon dioxide, plants cannot photosynthesize. Now, I will ask you a question at this point. During the daytime, we are talking light as an essential factor. So, will the photosynthesis rate will be more at 10 o'clock or will it be more at 1 o'clock? What do you think? Yes, think about it. At 10 o'clock, there is that. What happens at 1 o'clock? A lot of sun. So, that means a lot of water has been lost by the plant. So, during that time, the stomata can remain closed. So, if it remains closed, you cannot get diffuse carbon dioxide into that. Therefore, the rate of photosynthesis decreases. So, whenever you get a question in the examination, just do not only think of one factor, the light. Immediately 1 o'clock, yes, lot of light. No, you have to go through all in depth and then only answer the question. Now, think about it. We were talking about, say, why does photosynthesis slows down or even stop at temperatures above 40 degrees? This is a time for you to think. It is simple, because photosynthesis is an enzymatic reaction. At 40 degrees, the enzymes get denatured. So, no longer enzymes can work. Therefore, it can decrease or it can even stop. Next bit, you can see 3 students, they are very young, they are talking about healthy plants. So, we have been talking about light, carbon dioxide and water. Many times I have stressed on this, right. So, this girl says, I have given all my requirements for photosynthesis, whatever. So, that means carbon dioxide, light, and here this is the plants are becoming yellow. So, this boy says they also need a large amount of nutrients. These 3 major ones, carbon dioxide, water and light, is not enough. As we need nutrients to survive, plants also need nutrients to survive. Let us go through the mineral nutrition in plants. Now, basically there are a lot of nutrients, but plants major they need 2 macronutrients, that is mineral iron, nitrates as well as magnesium. So, nitrate ions. Nitrate ions are very important. Why? I have discussed earlier. Any idea? Remember? Yes? Nitrate ions are mainly absorbed from the soil by the root hair cells, and it is transported, and it combines with the carbohydrate which is formed during photosynthesis, and it forms proteins or amino acids. And these nitrate ions are very important for the growth of the plant, because they need to synthesize proteins. What are the use of proteins here? They are used in the formation of enzymes, hormones, cytoplasm of the cell. And if the nitrate ions are less, that means proteins. What happens to human beings? We have learned animal nutrition. When we do not have proteins, we learnt about 2 diseases, remember, Kwashiorkor and marasmus, and the person becomes stunted. So, here even the plants, if they do not have enough nitrogen in them, so they become short and stunted. This is a healthy plant, but this is lack of nitrates. Nitrates can be absorbed directly from the soil by active uptake or sometimes by diffusion. Then the next important mineral is magnesium. Why is magnesium so important? Magnesium is a central atom for a chlorophyll molecule. You can see this is a central atom, and without chlorophyll plants cannot photosynthesize, because chlorophyll is the pigment which absorbs all the light. So, chlorophyll is very, very important. If the plant is lack of chlorophyll, the plant will become yellow. Now, I have brought a plant which I used to keep on my table in my school, but during this COVID-19, since we are not going in, we were not able to give out any nutrients. You can see from here the plant was healthy, but now because they are having lack of magnesium, light, maybe all these factors, and it has turned into yellow leaves. It is very sad, because this plant will die out, because this leaf cannot photosynthesize, because it does not have the pigment. What is the pigment? Chlorophyll. And at the end of the lesson, just a multiple choice, just to remember whether you know any, remember any of those what we are discussing about, which substance needed for protein synthesis from here. Is it carbon dioxide for protein? No. Protein is the key word. So, we should know what are the atoms or elements in a protein. So, proteins contain nitrogen. So, it is nitrate. Then which row shows the effect of deficiency in nitrate and magnesium ions? We just discussed effect of nitrate deficiency. So, if it is nitrate deficiency, it will be stunted growth, and magnesium, it is yellowing of leaves. Now, before we wrap up the lesson and give you the homework, if you are with me in a classroom, I always sum up my lesson to see how many of you all have absorbed what I was been talking about all this while. So, we have cards here. Face to face, you can come and collect one card, and then this card will describe you something. So, here since you are not here, I will take the card for you and you answer for, right. Light energy. So, what is the role? Why is light energy important for us in this word? Yes, the principal source is sun. You can see from the picture it is sun, and light energy will be absorbed by the chlorophyll, and it is a raw material for photosynthesis. Very good. The next one, storage products. It's just one sentence or one word. Storage products. Can you name a storage product in plant? Yes? Very good. It is starch. The next word, photosynthesis. What is meant by photosynthesis? Anybody? Yes, photosynthesis process, green plants manufacture their own carbohydrate by using inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water in the presence of light energy. Leaf. What is leaf? Why is leaf important? Leaf is the organ. Yes, very good. Leaf is the organ where photosynthesis takes place. Raw materials for photosynthesis. Can you all name what are the raw materials? I have been talking for the last 20 minutes. Carbon dioxide, water and light energy. Very good, excellent. Glucose. This is a carbohydrate produced. Yes. So, this is very essential for the plant as well as for us, because this is a source of energy. Pigment molecule, remember what is the pigment molecule? Name it. Chloroplast? No, not chloroplast. Chlorophyll, very good. Chlorophyll is the pigment molecule. It says balanced equation. Anybody? Yes, it should be 6 molecules of carbon dioxide with 6 molecules of water in the presence of light energy, and chlorophyll it gives C6H12 O6 plus 6O2. This picture, what does it show? Yes, it shows mineral nutrients. What is the mineral we need here? Yes, magnesium, very good, because the color is yellow. It is chlorosis because magnesium is a central atom. If there is no magnesium, the plants cannot photosynthesize because they cannot form chlorophyll. And the last diagram I have, what is this? Any idea? I have been talking about it. Yes, good, it is chloroplast. Chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis which is found in the cytoplasm of the cell. So, that is my cards, and I hope you would have understood at least a part of this, and to follow this, please you can go through again the presentation and learn. This topic is important because this is more towards the ATP paper. And before ending the lesson, you need to read your book. Reading is very important. Making your own notes is far more important than even teaching. So, you need to read your book from page number 58 to 64 and then summarize your lesson there. And then there are some questions in your workbook from page number 35 to 39. Definitely you can do it and send it to your teachers. They would be able to help you out. And during this time, let us pray that this COVID will get over soon and we will be meeting in person. So, as long as you are at home, please keep studying because exams will be ahead very early. Thank you.
ಗೇಗ ಮಡುಕುರು ನೋನಿ ಹೋಮ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಹಾಜತ್ತ ಹೋಗ ಗೇಗ ಮಡುಕುರುಮ ಕಿ ಮುಹಿಮ್ ಕಮೆ ಕಾಫಿಯ ದಿಯಂ ನೋನಿ ಆಫಿಯ ದಿಯಂ ಫದಕಂತತ ಕೊಗೆನ್ ವಾಣೆ ಹಮ ಯಾಯಕೊ ರಟ್ಟೆ ಹಿಂ ತುವಾಲಂ ಗೇಂ ಅಮ ಕೀವಸ್ ಕೊಗೆನ್ ವಾಣೆ ಕಮೆ ಬಲಿಗೆ ಎವ್ವೆಸ್ ಅಲಾಮಾತೆ ಕೆಸ್ಸು ನೋನಿ ಹುಂಗಂ ಫದಕಮೆ ದಿಮಾವೆ ಜಕಮ ಗವಾಣಮ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕ್ ತಕ್ಷ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ ತಕ ಜಿಯಾರೆ ಕೊರು ವರ್ಲುಗ ಹಾಟ್ಲೈನ್ ನ ಗುಳಾಗೆ ಎಬೇಫುಂಗೆ ಇಶಾದ ಬದಿ ಕಂತ ಕೊರಬು ಮುಹಿಮ್ ಎಹಮಿಯುನ್ ನಾಯಕೊ ಗೇಗ ಉಳೇಕಮ ಗವಾಣಮ ವಾಕಿ ಕೊಟ್ರಿಯೆಗ್ಗ ಕುಡದೊರ್ತ ಹುಳುವಾಲಾಗೆ ಸಾಫ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿ ಬೇಗೊತ ಉಳು ಮುಹಿಮ ಹಮ ಎಗೊತ ದೊರು ಲಪ್ಪಾದಾಫಾ ಬೆಟ್ಟಮ ಕೇಸ್ ಮುಹಿಮ ಕಮ ಎಹಮಿಯು ಬೇನುಕುರ ಫಾಹಣ ಬೇನುಕುರಾಣಮ ತುವಾಯ ಸಾಬೋನ್ಯ ಶೆಂಪು ಫದತ ಕೆಟಿ ವಕಿಂ ಬೇನುಕುರು ಮುಹಿಮ ಕೇಯಿಂ ಬುಯಿಂ ಫದ ಕಂತಹುಗ ಆಯಿಲಾಗೆ ಮೀಹುಂ ನೋನಿ ರಟ್ಟೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಎಹಿ ದರಿಕಂ ಹೋದ ಬೇನುಕು ಫಾವ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್ ಅದಿ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂ ಫದತಕತಿ ರಕ್ಕಾತೆರಿ ಗೊತ್ತುಗ ನತ್ತಾದ ಮಟ್ಟಕ ರಂಗಳ ಬಂದು ಕೊಫಾ ಬೆಹೆಟ್ಟು ಮಹಿಮ ಕೊರೋನಾ ವೈರಸ್ಕಿ ವರ ಫಸೆಹ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಫೆತುರೆ ಬಯ್ಯೆ ಕಮುಂ ಗೇಗ ಮಡುಕುರ್ಮುಂ ಮಿ ಬಲಿ ಮುಸ್ಕುಳಿನ ಶಾ ಗಿನ ಬಲಿತಕ ಬೇಸ್ಕೊರ ಬಲಿ ಮಿ ಹುಣ್ಣ ಫೆತುರುಮ್ಗೆ ಫುರ್ಸತ್ ಕೊಡುಕೊದ್ದೆ